Hi, I'm the tech lead conducting your interview. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well too. Thank you for your patience. My job is to help technicians, especially technicians who might once have been referred to as overqualified, get into higher-level positions more quickly within technology. I help people advance as we grow and expand by demonstrating the next steps. My first question, and how I would like to start the conversation, is this. How could your next job, whether it's here at Cook Tech or somewhere else, ideally, benefit your personal goals?
I'm looking for a role where I can keep learning, use more of my technical skills, and grow into higher-level work over time.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in a good position for that. Cook Tech is an enterprise technology company that doesn't specialize in only one narrow area. Most technicians who start here have the objective of expanding what they can do and demonstrating it in a client-rated environment. Our clients usually choose technicians based on their reviews, so you're in exactly the right place to see and be seen in the technology world for what you can do. Let me ask you about 3 technical areas, one at a time. Question 1. Have you installed a motherboard in a PC?
Yes, I built a desktop PC and installed the motherboard and components myself.
Perfect. That's a wonderful way to get experience. That's pretty much how I and a lot of us got into this to begin with. Choose the computer or project you remember best. What specific motherboard did you install?
It was an MSI B450 Tomahawk MAX.
All right, I've got that. What processor did you install?
An AMD Ryzen 5 3600.
Okay. And what type of RAM did you install?
2 8GB sticks of DDR4 3200 memory.
Good. That B450 board supports an AXMP memory profile. Do you remember whether you enabled it so the memory ran at its rated speed?
I don't remember whether I enabled it. I may have left the memory at its default speed.
No worries. These aren't pass or fail questions, especially at that level of detail. You have hands-on PC experience, and not remembering one firmware setting doesn't change that. That gives me what I need for the PC side. Question 2. Have you configured a Wi-Fi router or wireless access point?
Yes, I have configured both.
Good. What settings did you configure, and how did you verify that the Wi-Fi network was working?
I configured the SSID, password, and basic router or access point settings. I connected a device and verified network access.
All right. That covers the Wi-Fi side. Question 3. How much experience do you have crimping and terminating network cable?
I have some experience, but less than I have with PC and Wi-Fi work. I'm prepared to practice before going into the field.
Okay, let me narrow that down. Where have you run cable and roughly how much structured cabling experience do you have? I'm asking about Cat5 or Cat6 runs where you put the ends on the cable.
My experience is limited to shorter runs and cable ends. I haven't done large commercial installations.
Got it. That's all right. Your PC and Wi-Fi answers gave me what I needed in those areas. So your example work order requires only network cable verification. If a candidate demonstrated less in either area, I would include additional verification or training tasks in the example. Before that assignment, I'll ask you to make 5 network cables and send me clear photographs of the ends. That lets me confirm your terminations, so you won't have problems with inspections at a job site. The 3 areas I'm evaluating are PC repair, Wi-Fi configuration, and structured cabling. Your PC and Wi-Fi background is useful. Cable termination is the only remaining skill I need you to demonstrate. Most of what we do at a site is some version of swapping a part or component on a network while working with our support team. I need to make sure you have those 3 areas down well. We'll start with work inside the scope you have demonstrated and expand your assignments as you demonstrate more. I don't think you'll have any problem practicing the cable terminations at home before you go into the field. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, that sounds reasonable. I can practice the terminations and send the photos.
Perfect. The reason I asked for those details was to confirm through the natural course of the interview that we can work together over the phone on technical issues. You explained what you know clearly, and you were equally clear when you did not remember something. That tells me you can describe what you see, follow guidance, and proceed professionally. That's important because, as I mentioned, we fast-track technicians. When you become a lead and have technicians under you, they may be working throughout a large area. A tech lead needs to know that if you have a problem at a site, the two of you can work through it over the phone. That's a major part of what you have to be prepared to do in the field. You also have to do it professionally, often in front of a client. You need to be able to explain that you might not have worked on that exact equipment before, but you have handled similar work and can engage company support whenever necessary. Being able to communicate that professionally is a major part of being a remote field service technician. The rest of this is what I call a reverse interview. I'm going to tell you about the challenges technicians have had here. If those are challenges you're ready for, the job is yours. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds good.
Perfect. The three biggest challenges technicians have when they come to work for Cook Tech are as follows. Review your work order without delay when it is emailed to you. Notify dispatch if anything is different from what the work order says. And notify your lead before you leave the site if you have any remaining issues or if the client has any complaint or remaining concern. When a work order is emailed to you, review the entire work order without delay. Consider what you might need help with later when you're actually on the job. As a technician, you average around 2 or 3 jobs each day. Each job averages around 2 or 3 hours, and they average about 12.5 miles away. Your first week or two is often a little slow because you don't have any reviews yet, and clients usually choose technicians with the most reviews first. When the jobs start coming in and compounding, some technicians have a tendency to skim them. This is our biggest challenge. It's also one reason people who are really interested in technology do well at this job. People who say, "I've been doing this for years and I have a lot of experience," frequently do the worst because they think they already know what to do. They don't read the work order thoroughly and they miss things. For example, suppose you receive a work order that says you need white network cable. A week later, the day of the job arrives. The project manager calls and asks, "Are you going to be on time?" You answer, "I might be a little late. I'm at Home Depot and they don't have any white network cable." What you've effectively told that project manager is, "I received the work order a week ago, but I didn't read it carefully or communicate with Cook Tech. Now I'm trying to resolve the problem on my own at the last minute." The project manager already knows that white network cable isn't available locally at Home Depot or Lowe's. That's probably why the requirement was included in the work order. They also know you're new and that you're now almost certain to fail on that job because there's no way you can arrive with the required cable while you're standing in a store that doesn't sell it. They probably won't explain all that to us. They'll simply say, "I don't want this technician on any more of my jobs." That project manager may or may not have authority over every job for the company, but it can have a cascading effect. The result can vary from nobody noticing to you receiving less work. It's like speeding. You might get away with it once or twice, but if you do it repeatedly, eventually it makes driving not worth it, and you might as well take the bus. This is critical. Review your work order without delay when it is emailed to you. Look through everything and determine whether you need help. Remember that we're here, and we're being paid to be here. Don't let us work for free. If you need help, tell us so we can help you. When you begin doing this work, you're really doing 2 jobs at once. You're learning and earning. I don't want to underestimate how much work that is. It's a lot in the beginning because you're doing 2 things at the same time. Once you've learned the process and made it efficient, the work becomes profitable, enjoyable, and relatively easy. But it takes consideration and learning before it becomes easy. That's one reason many people come and go within their first month. I don't want that to happen to you. It happens when people begin with a particular idea of what the job will be like. When the reality doesn't fit that idea, they fall away. That's why I'm explaining everything thoroughly and carefully. The first rule is to review your work order without delay when it is emailed to you. The second rule is this. If anything is different from what the work order says, notify dispatch as soon as you realize it. That sounds logical when I say it that way. But there's a reason smart people still need it as one of their 3 ground rules. Suppose you go to an American Eagle store to install a point-of-sale machine on Register 3. That's what the work order says. When you arrive, you discover that the store has been remodeled. Register 3 no longer exists, and the manager tells you to install the machine on Register 5 instead. That might seem fine, but if we don't notify dispatch and verify the change, there's a good chance that a week later, when the software company pushes an update, the machine will be on the wrong port. They aren't going to thank us for returning to the site to determine which port it's using and correct the problem. They're going to be annoyed that we delayed their rollout. If we say, "Manager so-and-so told me to do that," that person isn't the software company's contact. They don't know that person. That's simply the end user to them. Telling them that the site manager instructed us to make the change only tells them we were also bothering the end user. If anything is different from what the work order says, notify dispatch. Dispatch confirms 3 things. We're following that client's policies. The additional or changed work will be paid, and the work is covered by our insurance. Those 3 things are extremely important from our side. The only way we can know them is by confirming anything different with dispatch. Does that make sense?
Yes, if anything is different from what the work order says, I should stop and notify dispatch before making the change.
The third rule, and the one that is most important to me personally, is this. Notify your lead before you leave the site if you have any remaining issues or if the client has any complaint or remaining concern. I am your assigned lead, so for your first assignments, I am the person you call. If you tell me you're at a site and need help, I will be able to help you. When a technician calls before leaving, the tech lead has the best opportunity to resolve the concern while everyone is still on site. What I want to do is make you the hero so the client wants you to come back. If they only want me back, that doesn't help either of us. The magic is knowing that the client will receive a review afterward asking, "How did your technician do?" Most of the issues I resolve involve something the technician didn't think was their problem. For example, suppose the client says it took 3 visits for this issue to be resolved, and they're obviously annoyed. We need to escalate that. Otherwise, when the client reviews your visit, they're going to complain about everything that happened across all 3 visits. When they get their opportunity to speak to the manager, one of the things I explain is that the review they're about to complete pertains specifically to your visit. Now their perspective changes from, "This is really annoying. I don't know why the company is even paying for this," to, "This is the technician who finally fixed it. Please send this person back." That's critical. Most escalations I handle are situations the technician didn't think they needed to escalate. If you have any remaining issues, or if the client has any complaint or remaining concern, notify your lead before you leave the site. That also gives the tech lead an opportunity to demonstrate the job and show you how it is handled, because I want you to take my job. The promotion path is technician, lead, administrator, and owner. As a technician, you earn strong client reviews. As a lead, you manage a team and receive profit sharing. As an administrator, you manage a county and approve completed work orders for payment and billing. After 1 year as an administrator, you may choose the optional final step of owning the CookTech franchise in your county. CookTech is a cooperative. The company is owned by the people who do the work. That structure allows CookTech to pay approximately 95% of everything it receives for labor to the people doing the work. About 5% supports insurance and software. Those percentages fluctuate slightly, but that has been our average over time. Because CookTech is a cooperative, the focus is not traditional corporate profit. The shared objective is to create more jobs and help technicians manage a greater volume of work. After the call, I'll text you the technician procedures and the onboarding link. People often wait until after the interview to finish the remaining steps because they first want to understand the job and why the information is requested. You have already completed the first part. If you decide to move forward, follow every direction on the onboarding site carefully and submit everything it requests. You can ask questions now or after you review it. We also use text messages for routine field communication. So save my number and use that message thread whenever something is unclear. Before we finish, I'm happy to answer any questions about the work or CookTech. Every work order generates an email as soon as the client assigns it. Many are scheduled for the next day, although assignments can arrive at any time. Some clients reuse descriptions or provide limited information, occasionally for same-day work. That can feel disorganized at first. Once technicians understand how to clarify the scope, however, those assignments can become a reliable source of additional work. New technicians sometimes wonder why they received so little information for a job scheduled the next day. The approval process is what makes that manageable. Here's how it works. Each work order includes a number of pre-approved hours. For example, it might say 3 hours, swap POS 5 tomorrow, or repair camera 6 at a Walgreens. When we arrive, the manager might say, there isn't just one camera down. The DVR is down, and none of the cameras are working. That is a substantially different job. We pause and call dispatch. We explain what is different and ask how the client wants us to proceed. Dispatch might say, check with the manager. Here's the name of the person responsible for that system. Our work order usually includes several contacts, so dispatch can at least direct us to the correct person. We contact that person and explain the situation. They might say, that must be what's wrong. Go ahead and fix it. If the authorized person approves the larger repair, you assess the work. You may know the next steps, perhaps rerunning a cable, reconnecting devices, or testing against a known good device. If you do not, contact your lead. For your first assignments, I am your assigned lead and will support the job. If the work order originally approved 3 hours, you also tell dispatch, this started as a 3-hour job. I now need to test multiple cameras, so it will take longer, although I cannot give an exact total yet. Dispatch obtains approval. They might return and say, manager so-and-so approved 5 hours. The work order is then updated to 5 approved hours. If you reach 4 hours and realize the work will take longer, update dispatch again. We're still not finished. We had to rerun 3 cables. Multiple devices were down. The building was flooded or was hit by lightning. You may request additional hours through dispatch. Dispatch can continue requesting extensions when they are justified. Work order adjustments must go through dispatch. Obtain approval as the work develops, and document what caused the overage and who approved the additional hours. If the invoice is reviewed 1 month later, the record will show why what began as a 3-hour assignment became an 8-hour visit. Additional work was requested. The client was notified, and approval was obtained before that work was performed. If a billing question comes up afterward, dispatch and the client's authorized manager can review those approvals together. The technician should not have to debate the issue at the site. The record shows who requested the additional cable, cameras, or other work and when it was approved. Does that make sense?
Yes, the additional work needs to be approved and documented before I proceed.
Exactly. In this case, documented means we asked before proceeding and recorded the authorization. They sent us to perform A, B, and C. We didn't simply arrive and perform A, D, E, and F. Their authorized person instructed us to do something different, and then we performed it. CookTech and the client company jointly directed you to do that work. That confirms you are following the correct policy, covered by the appropriate insurance, and going to be paid for the approved work. Once you use that process a few times, it becomes straightforward. Even with experience, an unusual site can be challenging. For example, I once went to a site where employees were trying to perform billing work while a server alarm kept sounding. They repeatedly asked me, when is this going to be fixed? The server rack had been squeezed into a space intended to be a coat closet. I stayed diplomatic rather than saying everything that came to mind, such as, none of this is right, or I don't know who installed it this way. The installer was probably the same person who had assigned the job, so criticizing the installation might effectively have meant criticizing my boss. When the pressure built, I followed our rule and called the manager responsible for the equipment. The manager asked whether one disk showed a blinking indicator, identified the specific hard drive, and instructed me to remove it. The alarm stopped. I had considered that possibility, but I would never remove storage hardware from a production environment merely because one unit had a different colored blinking light. There was no KVM, no keyboard, video, or mouse, and connecting one was nearly impossible because of how the rack had been shoved into the closet. Until the manager confirmed that the disks were in a mirrored RAID array, removing one would have been unsafe. Choosing the wrong device could have taken down the entire office. That's why we're here for you. The work you perform is directed. That makes this the learning opportunity of a lifetime for many people. but you're learning in front of clients. That means the opportunity works best for people who are self-directed, have their own ethical core, and are willing to put in the work at the ground level. When someone struggles, the cause is often missed preparation, arriving late, not reading the work order, or failing to contact a lead or dispatch. Those choices lead to weaker reviews and fewer assignments. From the technician's perspective, it may instead feel as if the client was unprepared, the location was not ready, the work was too limited, or the travel was excessive. Both perspectives can exist, which is why clear communication and early escalation matter. People who prepare, communicate, and follow the process consistently continue receiving assignments. Cook Tech has operated as a cooperative for 14 years and as a company for 26 years. Many people earn well by working that way, and people contribute at every level across the organization. The people who do well tend to share the same habits. Leads and administrators keep improving the software and back-end support so the process is easier to use and works for more people. They also choose dependable technicians for their teams. Requiring people to demonstrate determination and follow through helps identify those who can succeed in higher-level roles.
What ladder or other equipment do I need to carry?
You need at least a 10-foot letter A frame ladder and a way to carry it in your trunk, through your vehicle, or on roof racks. That normally reaches the 15-foot drop ceilings where we do most of our work. Higher elevations are rare, and the site will ordinarily provide a scissor lift or cherry picker when one is needed. Good questions. Do you have any others for me? I'm also going to send you a short guide to what's expected of a technician. I like covering this verbally first because I want you to understand what it will be like for us to work together. I want to know that if you have questions, you'll be comfortable bringing them to me. When you become a lead and have your own technicians in the field, our biggest challenge will be technicians not asking for help when they have a question. When your technicians go into the field, you'll find yourself thinking, I really hope they call me when they need help. The one piece of technology we haven't invented yet is psychic technology that automatically tells us when there's a problem. Most jobs pay from the time you arrive until the time you leave. The work order has a cap on approved hours, but you're paid for the actual hours you work. When you earn good reviews, you'll have a stack of jobs. There will eventually be more jobs available than you can personally complete. That's also why, when you become a lead, you'll have enough work for a team. Think of your calendar as flexible within the limits of each work order. Fixed appointments stay fixed, while flexible jobs can move as job times change. Good reviews create enough volume to give you that mix of fixed and flexible work. Many of these clients are large data companies. They track a lot of information, and they don't always tell us what they're recording. They put the information in reports that we eventually see, but they don't necessarily tell the technician at the site what they're tracking. Technicians who perform well receive better work. Technicians who hide problems tend to remain on basic break-fix tickets and then wonder why they are not receiving better assignments. Everybody who advances here is hard-working and ethical. We're working to improve the turnover rate, but we're not overly stressed by it. Some people don't communicate or use the process. Others begin having problems and don't tell anyone. The people who stay engaged, communicate, and follow through do well.
I'm still interested, available, and ready to accept assignments.
Perfect. I think this will be a great fit. You seem like an ideal candidate. Do you have any other questions for me before I do?
No other questions right now. Thank you for explaining everything.
Thank you as well. If a question comes up after the call, reply in the same message thread. I am your assigned tech lead and your point of contact, and I am here to help. Once you complete the onboarding steps, processing usually takes 2 or 3 days. I will receive a notification and send you the login information for the software you'll use to view and complete work orders. Thank you. I'm looking forward to working with you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.